Welcome back to Anvil of Doom Miniatures. My name is Deets and I hope you've all been well. Now, a massive part of the hobby for me is scouring through Facebook Marketplace and eBay and finding miniatures to add to my pile of shame. And when I'm deep into the hunt, I kind of make these lists in my head of what my favorite miniatures are from each range. And lately I have been in a bit of a ratty mood and I've been trying to hunt down some classic Skaven to paint for the channel. And it had me thinking I should probably do another top 5 video, but this time I'll go through my favorite classic Skaven minis. And we can all argue like rats in the comments below about why my top 5 suck and why your top 5 are better. Anyway, I think a few of us out here have a soft spot for Skaven. As cunning, vicious and disgusting as they are, they do have a really comedic element to them as well. I know I've touched on a bit of Gotrek and Felix over the past few weeks, but if you read Skaven Slayer, you'll know what I mean. Plus, all the early sculpts from Jez Goodwin, Colin Dixon and Michael Perry are as close to perfection as you can get. Seriously, after this video, go check out the early Skaven range. It'll bring a little tear to your eye. Anyway, that's enough chittering, but before we get into it, I thought I'd run through a few rules I've set myself for my top 5 list. Now, I'm only going to choose minis that were released around the Warhammer Fantasy era of the game. I really do love all the new Age of Sigmar rats. I think they look great, but as this channel is kind of an old world and a Warhammer Fantasy channel, we'll keep it kind of grounded with those older ranges. Plus, I really do like hand sculpted minis. I know I'm kind of biased with that. And the second rule is I will be choosing multiple minis if they're kind of like a part of a range or if they came together in like a pack. Also guys, these are just my personal preferences. When I read lore and stuff like that, I do get a little bit biased with some things, so don't judge me too hard. But anyway, let's get into it. Now, as I was pouring through a huge list of classic Skaven miniatures, I quickly realized that doing this list is very, very difficult, but I couldn't go past Ikit Claw for number 5. Ikit is the chief warlock of Clan Skryre, and he really rose to fame during the Second Skaven War. He's traveled all over the old world from Cathay to Albion, and that's a pretty crazy feat in itself for a rat. Now, he does look like chopped liver because he suffered some nasty burn injuries which turned him into this mess. He wears a warp-powered exosuit, and his claw contains a small warp fire projector, so you know this rat is packing some heat. Now, this older sculpt really does hit me hard, all the detail in his exosuit, and I really love when Skaven will kind of wear those hooded masks. Now, if I were to paint this guy, I'd definitely go for some bold color choices, just like they used to paint back in the old White Dwarfs back in the day to make him really stand out in the tabletop. And also, I love his little banner that's kind of floating off to the side there. I think that's bloody awesome. I'd love to try recreate it. I'd probably stuff it up. This old era of miniatures where you had to make paper banners really makes the hobby that much more fun. Anyway, this classic iron-framed warp fire wielding rat is pretty iconic to me, and that's why he makes it as my number 5. Now, this miniature is not too common, and when you do think of classic Skaven miniatures, you're probably not thinking of this guy, as he did come out around 6th edition. And it's none other than the Plague Lord Nurglitch and his little companion Billuis and his loyal giant rat that he rides on, Pox. This guy is actually a member of the Council of 13, and what's interesting about this is that I'm pretty sure he's the only one on the council who actually came out with a miniature. I could be wrong, but it seems like a pretty rare thing. This chubby rotten rat is the master of Clan Pestilence, so obviously he stinks. He's kind of fought his way to the top, crushing all Skaven warlords in the Southlands until he challenged Lord Vask in combat for his seat on the council, which he obviously won. I also remember seeing him in an old White Dwarf magazine in some sort of campaign in Lustria. I'm not sure what it was called, so let me know down in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. Now, this miniature has it all for me. A rat riding a giant rat accompanied by a chubby rat on the ground, all with that Skaven charm. It's just absolutely perfect. He's got all the bells and whistles, plenty of skulls, some bells and all the grossness, so I couldn't not put him on this list. And lucky for me, I do have one sitting in my pile of shame, so let me know if you want to see me paint this thing up on the channel eventually. Anyway, this rotten rat makes it to number 4 on my list. When I was in my youth and flicking through a lot of White Dwarf magazines, Mordheim was in its prime, and that made me really excited about the game, and it also made me excited about the miniatures that came out with it. I would have to say the Mordheim ranges of minis are up there with the best for me. The treasure hunting dwarfs, the witch hunters, and of course the Skaven are really iconic, and they just fit in with this grimdark setting so well. All the Mordheim Skaven are that good that they scurried their way into my 3rd place, and I'm sorry, I know it's a large range of miniatures, but I really just couldn't choose one, and a few of them are pretty similar, so they all make it to number 3. Now, the grim darkness of Mordheim really shines through with these minis, and I know they're fairly simple sculpts, but I'm a firm believer that a lot of the best ones are. I know the Warp Hunters look extremely similar to the common Night Runners range, but I think having these guys all together with one of the Mordheim Rat Ogres, some Master Assassins, and Veskit makes them look like a bunch of mean thugs. The late and great Colin Dixon did a wonderful job setting the tone with these guys, and Veskit just looks like such a mean dude to me. He alone would probably make it just into the 3rd spot. The rat ogres from this Mordheim range are also some beauties, and I couldn't imagine more fitting minis running around the streets of Mordheim, hunting down Warpstone and surprise attacking those filthy man things who get in their way. There's so much charm and artistry that's been poured into these hand sculpted models, and if you own any of these, I'm very envious of you. Sorry I couldn't just choose one mini from this range, but I hope you all agree that these sculpts are some of the finest Skaven around. The number 2 on this list is another iconic Skaven miniature, and the silhouette alone is instantly recognizable, and I couldn't go past this mini because when I think Skaven, I think of this guy. It's none other than the hardest rat around, Queek Headtaker. This fierce rat boy collects the heads of his fallen enemies and slaps them on his back rack, and he even has conversations with them from time to time. He's not known for his cunning and is more of a charge in there and kill kind of rat. As I said, this mini does the lot for me, and I still feel it kind of like holds up today, but then again, all old sculpts do to me, so yeah. I wouldn't listen to me anyway. I also have to give a shout out to the 7th edition remake of this miniature. It looks really, really good too. The only thing I don't really like about it is the giant rat skeleton kind of going across the back of it. I wish there was more skulls instead, but I'm sure some kit bashing could fix that up. And for me, that's probably why I like the old sculpt just a little bit better. It's a bit more kooky, but it does just have more of a focus just on the skulls. And there's one special skull right at the very top of this old sculpt, which belongs to a green skin big boss, Morglum Blacktooth. This is one of the skulls that whispered to Queek and showed him the location of his signature weapon, the Dwarf Gouger. Also, I really love his armor, which is obviously like the Storm Vermin armor, and this kind of has this samurai or Asian aesthetic to it. If I were to paint this guy, I wouldn't change a thing. Every single color choice is spot on and really bold, just the way a classic Old Hammer mini should be. And Olden Demon is coming up soon, and it really has me thinking. It's now time for my number 1. Before we get into that, make sure you like this video if you're enjoying it, and maybe subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you want to jazz up your hobby space with some art, head on over to the Anvil of Doom merch store. I'll put the link here somewhere. I've got a few awesome Rat Boy prints left, but I've only got a couple left, so make sure you get on there really quickly to snap them up. Anyway, let's get on to number 1. Alright, it's time for number 1, and I think a few of you guys have been sweating like caged rats, waiting for these guys to make their appearance in this list. And yes, how could I not have the number 1 crazy magical rat and his loyal rat ogre, Thanquol and Bone Ripper, as my number 1. If you're wondering who Thanquol is, I think it's time to go read Skaven Slayer. It's pretty much compulsory reading if you're into Warhammer Fantasy. Now, the best way I could describe Thanquol would be, he's kind of like a Team Rocket version of a Skaven character. And I say that with a lot of respect because I'm a kid of the 90s and I love Pokemon. He wants power, he'll do anything for it. He's always scheming to kind of get on top and make his plans happen for domination. But thankfully, the true heroes of the old world are always there to stop him, Gotrek and Felix. Thanquol literally had me laughing every time he made his appearance in the Slayer books. I don't know what it is about him. He's just such a comedic rat. He's the character that made me understand why people adore Skaven so much. And it's also really funny how many Bone Rippers he's actually been through. Sorry, I am babbling a lot about this character, but it's just the way that William King wrote Thanquol. He really did bring him to life, and you can't really blame me. Like all these miniatures I've shown you, I really do love this old sculpt. From the horns to his staff to his classic Skaven rat face, he ticks all the boxes. These minis came as a set, and Bone Ripper's a beauty of a miniature as well, as he's all mutated and fairly frightening. Anyway, these minis are the pinnacle of Skavendom to me, and they really do deserve the place as number 1 in my list. And that's pretty much it for the list, but obviously there have to be a few honorable mentions which I'll throw up here, especially the Screaming Bell, which I painted a bit over a year ago and had a lot of fun painting that thing up. But let me know down in the comments below what your top 5 Skaven miniatures are, or maybe just your favorite Skaven miniature of all time is. I'd really like to know. These lists always take a toll on me because I hate choosing my favorite things. It's kind of like choosing a favorite child. But one thing that was really fun was going back through the classic Skaven miniatures that we all know and love, and it made me think, imagine if they came back to the old world. We can only dream and keep screeching about it until GW hears us. And last up, I want to say a massive thank you to all my Patreon members. You guys are a bunch of legends. Thank you for making these videos possible. And if you want to join the Anvil of Doom Patreon, the link is in the bio, and I look forward to catching up with you on the Discord. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. I'll see you all next time. Cheers.